Welcome to this week's episode of Courageous Leaders Changing the World. Super excited for this week's guest, Travis Cochran, the technician himself.
Thank you for having me, brother. We've been talking about this for, 4 years?
Yes, it's always interesting when people's lives change and, happens at the perfect time. The name of the podcast is Courageous Leaders Changing the World. So what's the time that you've had to summon more courage than any other?
It's a great question to start it. And I'm sure everyone goes, what moment? But the first moment that just burst through is when I quit the Broncos at 17, for sure. Because I think about who I was as that little boy and the courage he had to muster to not only disappoint everyone around him, including his dad, who he looked up to so much himself, because I didn't know why I was doing it. Like, why am I quitting this thing I'm so good at? I just made it into the Broncos. And I was already in them at 14 years old. I was this size at like 6. So it was like I made it into this thing that I naturally was good at, barely trained, was very lazy, very shy, didn't know how to talk to people. And obviously that all built up into the mental health issues I had. But to know that I was depressed, anxious, shy, couldn't really talk to people and still made it to where I did and then still said no, absolutely that is the version of me that I'm so proud of, that because I wouldn't be here, bro, if I didn't make that decision then. So that's absolutely the moment that I think of.
What's the time recently that you've had to step into a new level of courage then? Because it's one of these things that kind of plays out every time that you level up. There's like a new level of courage. There's a new level of facing off with yourself. Sometimes that's in business. It's often how you're selling. It's like selling on calls to selling on stage, or selling on stage to selling one-on-one offers from stage that are $100,000. What's been something that's been you stepping into courage more recently?
I love this question because something huge has just happened. And again, everything comes together at the right time. Only 2.5 weeks ago, essentially, I can't share everything for anyone listening. I'm so sorry. It'll come out soon. But essentially, I've achieved a goal that I said to Cody before, I wanted to achieve it in 10 years. It's happened within, 10 months. And when we ask for something, usually when we're doing this sort of work, it happens really quickly. The only issue with that, or thing that comes with that, is that it will test you. You will do 10 years worth of work in a week. Yeah. So my courage was that literally 2 days later, I found out that my car hadn't been serviced properly by the place I'd been taking it to. So it broke down. And I had to, for the first time in my entire life, people might not perceive this as something that I'd struggle with, but men in a place of authority, my little boy would shut down. So I walked into this service center knowing I had full evidence of like, hey, you guys didn't do this, this, and this. I need to challenge you on this so that you fix this fucking thing. Can we swear, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Because I swear a lot. And essentially I walked in here and this guy comes out, the manager, and it's in front of like 5 other people. Again, there's eyes on me. Oh no, the little boy's, he's activated, cheeks are red, panicking. And he said to me, the first thing he said, oh, we only did the oil, mate. And I had to go, well, what the fuck is this? And it's a full tax invoice of everything they'd done in the service apparently, or didn't do. So that moment, I was so activated. In my entire life, I would just shut down. I would just walk out and be like, oh, it's fine. I'll just pay the money and get on with it. But I sat in that room for 6 hours and waited for them to get back with a final answer. He kept coming back in, trying to challenge me. And I stood my ground. I said, no, it's not good enough. You need to fix this thing. And then that led out for a whole week of me having to set boundaries, stand up for myself, challenge friends. I was dealing with betrayal and things that, everything was being shown to me. So as much as I've been fine with conflict for many years now because of the work I've done, I still had to muster a lot of courage because whatever wound was opened up from this moment was deep. And it led to a moment where I feel what I'd had to overcome was like this entire loop of standing up against dad, which I realized I'd never truly done it. He's a beautiful human. I love my father, but there's definitely those moments as a little boy that I never did that for myself, including coaches, football coaches, things like that. And it reminds me now, as I've just shared it, that moment of saying no to quitting football, to this full circle moment, 18 years later, that I'm saying yes to myself and no to someone else. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how it plays out. We often our next level is a new level of initiation into our relationship with authority, and that brings up, all of our dad wounds, or all our mum wounds, or all of our coaches, all the coaches that we've given our power away to, all of these things. It becomes this new level of owning this level of authority. And, you know, the the universe very much conspires for us in all of these ways. People don't recognize that when they're getting a legal challenge, when they're getting sued or something. That is a unhealed expression of an authority wound based on often one of their parents. And when you can actually start to get to that place where you can actually start to create a deeper sense of integration of that, it becomes this entirely new normal in your life. And that's what most people are looking for, but they resist the process of like, you know, it's so alive for me right now, but I don't actually want to go through it right now as well.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, bro, I love that because that's what I help with is those unconscious patterns that were created as kids. You know, the way I explain it is that you're currently at level 18 as your human character, as the meat sack. You're playing against this boss at level 18, but the skill levels you have are of the tutorial level. You're still playing out that protective mechanism that was created at 10 years old because dad said you weren't good enough to earn that thing today, so you don't get that toy or whatever. And then you built this protector to keep you from that. So as you get older, these moments show up, as you just said, and the only thing you need to do to break that loop is do the thing you've never done before and actually lean in and tell that person no, set a boundary, whatever it might be. And so many people just don't have the courage or even the willingness to just do the thing. And I have so many people come to me from other coaches who have done all this like spiritual stuff and all these things, and they're still not doing the simplest thing of like posting a fucking video on Instagram. And then they find out that it's like, oh, I can just do it. I need accountability and set a date and maybe certain ways to keep you motivated externally. That'll make you do it. Cool. Then make it happen. And yeah, as you said, bro, I leaned into that discomfort straight away. That's all I ever do. I'm not the smartest coach in the world. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I know I will go towards every single thing that scares me and do it anyway. And that's why I'm here now. You know, it's only taken me technically 4 years to build the coaching brand and business that I have. I started as a podcaster. That in itself, that poster of the technician standing over the guy with the tools with his brain out, that sat on my kitchen wall for 7 months before I did my first episode. But that day when I chose to do that, something in me changed. Those old loops that were playing out to some degree literally just stopped because I did the thing that I was terrified of. Hope that explains that.
Yeah, definitely. We were just talking about this yesterday in one of our business masterminds that we had. And, you know, it's a room full of people that are already doing multiple six, 7 figures. Some people have had 7-figure exits, all of these things. So it's people that are already kicking goals. And most people have put something in their mind in between them and their goal. Like I put the strategy between it. I put the thing between it. I put having the perfect podcast room set up. I remember I had my podcast gear. I'm like, right, I'm going to do a podcast again. So what do? You like take a step straight away, straight onto online. I'm going to buy all the mics, all of the stuff and get it. And then I get it at home and then it just kind of sits there for a bit. And then, because I'm like, oh, well, I don't have the camera set up. So then I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get the camera set up. And I see somewhere that you can just use iPhones. So it's like straight on to call up Apple. I'm like, all right, so I want to lease a couple extra, all those laptops that we're leasing, great. One for each of the team members, all good. Let's get an extra 3 phones. And they're just like, this is what it is. Boom, send me the phones. And it kind of sits there and I'm just still haven't started. So there's still something in the way. And eventually I get to this point where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just going to start. And the first 3 episodes, the first 5 episodes, I'm like, just get 5 in the bank, and then you know you'll sort out editing and all of the stuff because I'm like, oh, you need to have the editing ready and all that stuff. It's like, just start. And those 5 episodes, they look like dog shit because they're done in my house. All the lighting, I've got the lights set up, but they're normally set up for
like your content you create.
Just for like all the zooms and stuff because it's got like all the background. But as soon as you turn them, it changes the lighting dynamics and all of the things. Yep. And you want different lighting for a podcast. Anyway, so the first 5 are like dog shit. But then after that, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I couldn't be fucked. Let's just go straight to a studio and get it all done. So I'd put all of these things in the way. And so many people do this. They put all of these things in the way of me actually doing the thing that actually launches it. Yeah, I'm taking little steps, but it's like one tiny little thing at a time rather than just going, all right, let's just go all in, make it happen. Because what most people see is they think that the thing that's in the way is the thing to stop them. No, that is the way. It's going through that. It's not actually like going there to stop or just taking a tiny little step. It's like, how do we go through that?
Oh, bro, I love that. Can I ask a question of like, what do you believe your underlying pattern was playing out for you that to stop you? Like, what do you reckon the fear was on an unconscious level?
The fear is there's like 3 different kind of flavors to it. There's like, it's not being polished, it's not being perfect, and it's not being right.
Yeah.
So it's like when, the thing that happens is the more successful that you become, the more that you perceive that you have to lose, the more that you start to think about your reputation, the more that you start to think about your branding, the more that you actually put time, energy, and effort into that. But then that also means that starts to become, there's like this dance of polishedness. Like one of my favorite quotes is, if you resist every rub, you'll never be polished.
Ooh.
But most people then take that to the extreme where they're just inauthentic because it's too polished. And we were talking about Navdeep earlier. He's like, he said to me once that he was told by a speaker coach to fumble or make mistakes on purpose so that he would seem more authentic. And I'm like, that is so inauthentic.
Wow.
That kind of defeats the purpose.
What the fuck? But it's even wild that they have strategies for those sort of things.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't know any other way to just be me.
Yeah.
It sounds exhausting not to just speak and say what I do and try to sound like someone I'm fucking not. Like I simplify, like I've got a group program that I was going to do, but now that's all just been thrown out the window because I'm like, whoa, I'm going just pure one-on-one because that's what I love. And I want to work with very high level like athletes and things like that. And I called it simplified depth because I feel like everything's become so deep, like it's 400 layers deep and this, you have to do this. And I just wanted to like stupefy it and just go, hey guys, this is what it actually is. And then give it my own flavor with a bit of humor. And I think that's why I work so fast with clients is because I've been through so much darkness myself, bro. Like I've been broken, I've been depressed, I've wanted to kill myself, I have tried all those things. So when I'm met with those type of things, I'm just like, cool, tell me more. And that energetic resonance from them to be able to just share with me, who also is like making a bit of a joke 10 seconds before that, they just collapse and they're like, oh, I can just tell this guy anything. And then it's met. And I'm just like, cool, let's keep going. Like I remember having a 35-year-old father who had never told this thing any time, and because of my neurospicy brain, my TISM saw straight away through the pattern, and I had to ask him the question. I was like, bro, what's that thing in your throat right now? And it just came straight out, and it was from like 6 years old. And I just held him in it. I saw him, didn't judge him. He felt no shame or anything, and it just dissolved. Obviously, there was a bit of integration afterwards and help him support with that, but I see things like that happen and I'm like, holy shit. Like clinically I can understand it, knowing these maladaptive mechanisms that we create as kids and all like, the schemas that are created. Like Lockie teaches me a lot about that. Shout out Lockie. But I also know that who I am as a person, I'm quite simple and I'm quite fun and I like to do shit real and raw. And I think that's why it works so well. And without, like you said, adding all this extra shit, I just go, how simple can I make it? So that next year, I've deleted my website. I think I have one link in my bio now, and it's just like, here, it's a Notion page. It's just a Notion landing page. Go read about me and see if you want to work with me, and then do an application, and then we'll decide what to do from there. And that feels way more authentic for me because that is me. Like Cody, like most times I'm at home just gaming. Like I'm gaming, gym, basketball, hanging out with my missus and our sausage dog. That's pretty much it. And then, I might have a day of that where I need my little autistic day to myself. I'm like, don't talk to me. And then the next day I've got 6 calls back to back, but I'm just like, here's breakthrough, because I've understood how I operate and I'm okay with that. It just works.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that level of self-awareness of understanding that how you operate is I don't want to say underutilized, is undervalued because most people already know what is for them. It's just that they don't do the solid like yes or no with it that we were talking about earlier. It's like people don't have that solid yes or no. With me and my partner, we have a rule that there's no sure in our household. It's yes or no. It's like as soon as you say sure, it's like it's not actually neither of those things. It's not actually like definitively yes or definitively no. So it's like this ambiguous bullshit zone. So one of the things that kind of plays out with that as well is, every single new level, whether as the example with you of going from like groups back to one-on-one, a lot of those things are bringing up old wounding? What do you see with people journeying those things?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like, would you say in the coaching space specifically?
Well, it plays out everywhere, but it's more heightened in the coaching area because we have more of a language for it.
Trying to do more when you need less.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, a great example would be a client recently was just, she's been doing processing for 3 years now, thinking she needs all these extra modalities and things like this. And I listened to this like 10-minute long story, and then I said like 2 words to her, and she felt so seen and called out. She hated me for it, but I said, yeah, like I understand what you're saying, and I'm so like I hear you, but no, like just stop it. I literally just said, stop it. Stop with this story. Stop with this extra bullshit. Why are you not doing the thing? And then the layer started to peel up a bit, and I asked her a few questions, and then we saw the reality of it was like, something around one of her parents passing, and she'd blamed herself for that. So now it's like any way that she can protect herself and not taking responsibility for herself, because she has to take responsibility for everyone else around her. So it's like she adds in all this extra stuff she doesn't need to protect herself. So I think a lot of people, maybe all those extra mechanisms, qualifications, all these things in some way protect them. And that's probably what I see a lot is just little kids trying to protect themselves in most humans that I'm helping, whether it's a coach, business owner, athlete. It's, as I said before, it's that, yes, they're a level 18 character, but their programming is still at the level 1 or tutorial level. And once you break that barrier to get them up for the programming to catch up to the character, the changes are like that, dude. It's wild because they now have the actual operating system they need to take action.
What's been your experience with IFS? Have you done much IFS?
Look, Drew's taught me a bit about it. I think without even realizing I've done some of it, it's definitely something for me because I always want to be learning. I'd love to take an actual certification within that because I know I'm someone who's like, I respect this work and I know I want to know the things to be sure I'm doing the work right. But that's not something that I've gone into fully yet. So, but I love it. I've heard many stories, what's his bloody Aubrey Marcus. I remember him his episode telling about his experience with it.
Yeah.
Because who's the creator of it?
David Schwartz.
Schwartz, yes. And he's talking to him, I'm pretty sure. And that's when I really heard it and go, wow, that's incredible. Because I'm guessing what I'm speaking right now is very related to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. The one of the primary principles of it is we develop different parts and these parts play different roles.
Yeah.
And in those parts, one of the primary one is our protector. And often the protector is one that will do things which are resourceful to a certain degree to be able to protect you, but then it actually stops you from receiving all other things because they will then become overbearing or dominant over other parts that could actually be much more resourceful to you.
Yeah.
Which is just why I ask, because it's very, very similar in terms of what's playing out with that. And one of the core things with IFS is, the speed at which you can get results with it is extremely quickly, because as soon as you get people to go beyond their protector parts, or another one of the parts that they talk about is the firefighter part. A firefighter is not a firefighter. They don't put fires out. They're obsessed with fire. That's the distinction.
The chaos.
Yeah.
I love that because you're right. That's now sparked something where it's like, I believe what happens with the protector, their protectors leave so quickly with me because they're like, the protector sees me and goes, oh, this guy's cool. He's got him. And then he just sort of takes a step back and just fucks off and allows the wound to actually heal.
Yeah.
And I think a process I use that works quite well is Soma Vision. And basically it's a somatic cinematic experience where I love movies. I love movies, bro. Like everything. And I use a lot of really epic, cinematic, dramatic music in the background. And then I'll be speaking. So now when you were 10, and it's like that really epic sort of stuff. And it just blows them open. And you can move that energy that's stuck within the body. And I feel like as soon as you said, the protector seems to just see and feel that and go, okay, this is the moment. They're actually safe enough for them to allow this to finally heal or move or be felt and dissolve. And then all of a sudden, the work they've been trying to be doing up in here, it's moved within the body, that bottom-up processing. And I don't know what it is. It was like intuitively sort of put together, and I'll have a bit of a script that's a structure. And then I'm sure Jess does this too. I'll have stuff just coming through. I'm like, I've got to say this right now. And that's said in the exact right moment because I see their body open up. I'm like, this is it. I need to say this. And then it's just this big like, oh, or if it's a rage or a grief release or a sadness. And you just see them change, bro, in that moment. It's like they go from the little boy or little girl into the adult, and you can see that protector has gone, my job here is done. And then things change instantly.
Yeah. What's been something that you've been journeying then in terms of either your protector or your wounding recently?
Money, for sure. You know, I've always broke up as the broke boy, and I saw in my family that money was something that hurt everyone. So I never wanted it. The little boy was like, oh, that shit's evil. Let's keep that away from us. So I was fantastic at spending it, couldn't hold it, didn't want it. And then, you know, you hear about people like coaches doing like 20K months, 30K months. And yeah, I started doing that. And I was like, that broke my whole reality of what's possible. Like I actually felt bad. I felt bad that I'd made more than my dad. I felt bad sharing it with mates that are struggling. I felt awful that like, why am I getting paid this money to do something I love? And it was like going against everything I'd ever known and believed. And, you know, it's still playing out a bit recently where I'm like gone to a whole nother level of income, and it's about to go to a whole nother level again. And I'm working with clients, dude, that I can't even share with people because these are some people that are like, I've worked with 7-8 figure business owners without even realizing. I realized this morning, I did a tech talk, which is a one-off coaching session with a guy last year, who I realize now is one of the top dogs of FIFA. I didn't even know any of this. I just thought he was a cool guy. So I'm already in the space and the energetics of these people that are like big dogs. So I think unconsciously I've gotten around these people who are saying, yeah, man, my biggest week's been like 150,000. So as I've gotten around myself and I'm seeing more of that and hearing that that's normal, I think my little boy's gone, oh, this is actually okay to make this side of money. You're not a bad person if you make this money. You can hold this, and my energetic capacity has expanded so much, bro, that I remember saying this to Lockie. It was like my base was like, if I get under $1,000, then I'll freak out. And then it all of a sudden went up to like, if I get under $40,000, then I freak out. And now I understood why people would say, I could have so much, I've had more money than ever and still feel fucking broke. So that's something I'm still navigating, where I'm so much more literate with money and so much better at making it, keeping it, and investing it. But it's definitely something that I've found has been the hardest thing to learn about, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's perfectly evident in people's relationship with money. The ceiling is based on guilt. So what happens is as you start to outgrow people, then you start to guilt yourself, which means that you'll then spend money in unconscious ways because you perceive, especially in the instance that you talked about, is if you perceive that you have more than your family, then then they're going to be alone, and you don't want them to be alone. So you unconsciously create suffering with them. So at least then they aren't alone. Oh. And people do that with their friend. They do it with their family first, and then they start doing it with their friends, and then they start doing it with their peers. And that top line is the guilt, but then the bottom line is the resentment. And that's just as bad because that perpetually creates neediness, because if it goes down to the $1,000 that you talked about before or the $40,000, again, what that just creates is neediness, but then you just start getting into this desperation energy, which actually creates these downward spirals more often. Yeah. Comparative to actually starting to create a separation between, what is in your bank account and actually who you are. Because when those two things are collapsed, I was ranting on this yesterday.
I love this shit. Yeah, I love this. This is cool.
The worst thing that you can do as a coach is charge your worth. Yeah. And everyone's taught that, because what happens is now you've got your worth and you've got that connected to any money that you make, then it's very conditional. And what happens in business, it goes up and down. Yes, we want it to go up and down and higher up over a period of time, but it never just goes straight up. And if you connect your feeling, your emotion, your worth, your validation, your level of success to something that's going to go up and down over a period of time, that's a losing proposition.
Oh, I love that. I can actually share, this would be really cool for the listener. There was a moment I was driving down here for an event, and I remember about a week before that, I had a moment where I'd like seen the Matrix, I was just sitting in the fucking garage drinking a beer, playing games. And then I swear to God, I saw the 1010, like everything dissolved in front of me. I freaked out, tried to call my missus. What's happening? And then I guess some sort of consciousness piece around that. The following week, I'm filling up my car with diesel, and I'm seeing the numbers go up on the Bowser. And I just had this clarity of like, this isn't even money. This is fucking numbers. This has got nothing to do with the value of what I'm putting into my car or me and what you just said. So it's like these two separate things. And I feel now that that's landed so hard because I am so happy, bro, that next year my one-on-ones are going to double instantly. I'm like, yeah, well, of course they're worth that. I'm changing lives in a week. And I know that's true. I know people are, you can't do this work fast. Well, you can, but you also got to be careful to support them afterwards too. I think that's a big piece, right? But I'm seeing it. There's evidence right there that people are literally changing from who they were to who they are now or who they always were and remembering. And I know I can do that for the people I'm about to support next year, which, fuck it, I'll just say it. It's going to be people at that level of like NFL, NBA, that sort of thing. That's someone I've always wanted to support. Ever since seeing Michael Jordan's Last Dance documentary and during COVID, I saw Tim Grover. And Tim Grover is one of the OG that coached MJ and Kobe. I was like, I want to be that guy. That's who I want to be. And for me to sit here now and be so close to being able to do that, obviously not to some of the GOATs yet, but I already see myself as that guy. I feel myself as that guy. So as you just said, that guy has got nothing to do with if I'm getting paid 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K for my coaching. This guy can change lives and help athletes become this, this, and this. So now it's not determining my worth on how much money I'm earning. It's like, how much can I change this guy's or woman's life with what I do? So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the biggest mistake that people make with that is when they're filtering it through, you know, their worth, it's less about their worth and more about what the person values. If you're working with Kobe, you know, is he going to work with someone that's going to charge $10,000? Fuck no.
No.
And that's the mistake that people make. They don't recognize that it's about the person, their values, what it actually means to them based on the investment. It's actually got nothing to do with you. Yes, it's going to bring up your shit if you go from charging, you know, I remember the first time that I charged $33,000 for like one-on-one. And this was like years and years ago. And I was just like, why do you want to do this? Like, I don't even want to do it myself, but if it's $33,000, sure, I'm going to do it. And that was like a key point in that lesson. It was like, well, I want to take it seriously and I need to be able to invest to do that. And, you know, then it goes from, you know, 33 to 50 to people pay me like $160,000 to be able to work with me one-on-one, to be able to get a result. And you look at the results and you're like, well, that was fucking definitely worth it.
Yep.
But most people don't look at it like that. They're like, oh, it's got to be based on what my worth is, based on all of the personal development, all of the fucking, you know, processes that I've done,
how much is in the program?
Yeah, how much is in the program, all the deliverables. It's like fucking bullshit. High level people want less.
Bro, yes. I worked with the guy that literally started one of the biggest retail stores in Australia. You know what he wanted? To go sit on the beach for 45 minutes and just chat.
Yeah.
That's our sessions.
Yep.
He wanted to be met and understood and heard. No one could understand his problems he was dealing with at that level.
Yep.
And for some reason I could. I just sat there and I was like, yeah, brother, I hear you. You know, like obviously the hole that's in your heart, it's got nothing to do with the success you're creating other than the wounds you're dealing with your father. And it was just 3 months of that, you know, and he's a different person now. So I absolutely agree. It's got nothing to do with like, yeah, charge your worth and like how much is in the program. That's why I stripped everything back and I'm like, I'm going to give you the support that you need and want. Let's custom them to that. If you just want fucking audios back and forward on Telegram for 6 months, cool. I'll figure out how much that's going to cost. What's the energetic reciprocation I need to feel good about showing up for that? And then that's what we'll figure out. And usually, like I just had an 8-figure guy reach out last week, which challenged me. I was like, oh, this is the level that's coming to me now. And it was a little bit of, because he's a business coach, my first response, Cody, oh, nah, bro, I'm all good. I just finished with my business coach. He's like, oh, dude, you got it all wrong. I want to work with you. So there was this very polarizing moment of like, wow, this is what I've just stepped into.
Yep. Yeah, and that happens as well. Most people are so resistive to receiving people that they have that response. It's just like they can't even fathom when people want to work with them on that high level. They're like, why do you want to pay me, you know, $100,000? Why do you want to do that? It's like, and that was the experience that I had all of those years ago at the same time. It was just like, well, why do you want to do this? It's like, I priced it at that point so that you wouldn't do it and you're doing it anyway. Why? And it was that moment of just recognition of like, okay, cool. You know, it's about what they value.
Yeah.
And if you I was having this conversation as well. Like, it's just very much in the energy of the event that we just ran. And, some people value being in personal development rooms, and many people value being in nature. And most people are like, well, it's not personal development if it's not in nature. And then the other group is like, it's not personal development if it's not in a room. It's like, whatever the fuck you want. I was in a barber in in Egypt one time.
Oh, shit.
And I'm just taking the person beside me through like a holographic process. We're waiting to get our haircuts. The guy over there is doing shamanic haircuts. Shout out to Jake. He was haircutting us then, but he's been following Teddy Swims around, cutting his hair around all around Australia while he's doing his tour and stuff. And I'm there just taking this guy through a holographic process. It's like, it doesn't have to be this perfect thing. It doesn't have to be this perfect environment. It doesn't have to be like all of these perfect things. I think back to all of the different places that I've facilitated a holographic process. We also did one on the Nile, did one in a restaurant, did one in all of these different places. And the key point with it is, how do we recognize that, life is the thing that is going to be serving us up all of this growth? And the more that we need to be able to create it being perfectly curated or perfectly branded and all of those things, the more that actually takes away from the authenticity, the more that takes away from the aliveness that is actually moving through us, which is going to create the most change for that person. Because otherwise we fall into the trap of wearing the mask of perfection.
Oh, dude, that hits hard. Thank you for sharing that, because you just reminded me, one of the most profound things I experienced with a client was in the last 12 months, was in my car at a shopping center. She was just laying next to me, took her through some breath. So, because in the car, the sound's sick, it's like breath, like breathe, come on. Dude, she healed something that was in her body. She got stung by a bee when she was like 11. And the trauma of that, it was like this choking. So whenever, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like a healing of this deep trauma that her body reacted in a certain way, physically, like some sort of disease that was staying there. In that moment, the next day she said, Trav, you wouldn't believe it. That thing that always happens, it's like gone. And it was in a car park at North Lakes Shopping Center. And I think in this world, as much as I'm all about consent and safety, I think we get too used to coddling everyone. It's like, actually allow them to go to where they need to be. They're fucking adults. And I'll hold and meet them where they need to. If I'm facilitating, I know that if that person's, it's too much for them, I'll ease up a little bit, allow them to create a little bit more safety for themselves. I can't do the safety for them, but then I'll meet them when they're ready and I'll fucking push them because I trust them that they can do this. I know you can do this. I got you. Like, we got this. Let's go. And push them to that degree, because I think that's the competitive football nature as well, with the soft, feminine way to hold them, So I think in that container that I create, as the man I am and the size that I am and the energy that I hold for people, as you said, bro, it doesn't matter where I am. I can help you do the thing you need to do. So thank you for sharing that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There's this kind of pattern that plays out for people as well. As the more successful they become, the more that they perceive that they're alone, and the more that they actually start to create separation from themselves and perceive that they have to do it all themselves. And one of the ways that this consistently plays out for a lot of our clients is, if they're stepping into either running their very first event or running their first sell from stage, often they're fucking shit scared. I've got someone who's running their first event tomorrow that they're selling from stage, and all of their stuff comes up. And often what happens is when people are doing it from a place of doing it on their own and lone wolfing it all the way through, what happens is they don't have someone to be able to co-regulate with and to be able to recognize how actual normal it is. And that's what most people struggle with. And that's why they're consistently looking for, they're either looking for someone that can hold them to the death. I remember I have these conversations with Lockie. Lockie's like, I just want someone that can hold me to understand all of my fucking tisms and things. And I'm just like, bro, yeah, I fucking know, bro. I know that's a fucking wound of aloneness when people are like, well, people can't hold it to the degree that I can, or people can't see me to the degree that I can. And it becomes this identity that so many people go through, especially as they become more successful.
Yep.
And it's this journey, Chris Williamson talks about. It's like there's the most alone is when you're in between circles. Yeah. When you've got this circle of the people that you've been around, and you've got the new circle that you don't even know is available most of the time, of people where that all of those things are just normal, where it's like normal to be able to make $100,000 selling from stage, or $400,000 or $1 million selling from stage, and it's normal to be able to charge $500,000 for a one-on-one client. It's normal for all of those things. But when you're in that separation between your circles, you feel most alone. And that's the time that most people will fall back. They fall back to their old patterns, fall back to the old circle, fall back to what it is. And you see it all day, every day when people go through whatever the next certification is that they do, whether it's NLP or breathwork or things. Some people make the transition from circle to circle, but many people get stuck in between because of the level of aloneness that they feel, because they feel they shouldn't be feeling those things, which then creates this downward spiral comparative to actually just recognizing that it is a very, very specific season, and the new circle becomes a new normal, because when you're in that circle, then things are just normal for you. And one of the people sometimes speak to this in personal development, but they also do it in a shadowy way where it's almost shaming the old circle.
Yeah.
You see it a lot right now with people,
so much.
with people going from New Age to born again Christians. It's just like, okay, well, I'm going to save all of the New Age people. It's like, okay, great. We love you and no thanks.
Literally.
What do you see in terms of the clients that you work with, but then also your relationship with those journeys of experiences of feeling alone in it?
I love this topic, man. I think you explained it so well, because I have 100% experienced it. But I think for myself, dude, I've always done my best to stay really grounded. And I think the person that keeps me in that space is my fiance. The emotions are going to come up in this one. She's just showing me, bro, how to show up. And yeah, we can do all these cool things and make millions of dollars and all this shit. But at the end of the day, I experience the most love in the simplest forms. I wake up in the morning and I'm in a house just full of fucking love and just like calm. And I go and let my little sausage dog out and I take him for a wee. Bro, I'm happy. The fact that same day I could go and meet a millionaire and it's normal, those two things are the same for me. I don't try to say that this is better or this is better. It just is. And I got so caught up in all the bullshit that you hear that it's like, yeah, you got to leave your old friends, you know. I'll still get on the piss with the boys. I'll go to the pub and get on the pokies if I want. Like, I'm not an addict. I understand that I help people with that shit, but I'm not going to demonize it if that's the thing that's keeping them alive right now too. Because there's so many different levels to the human experience. And for any of us, even if we're coaches, if anything, we should be the ones that see that. Know that that's a person doing their fucking best most of the time. And if gambling every day is keeping them alive, I'm okay with that. If I can help them get away from that, awesome. But I'm not going to judge them for where they're at. And I think now, like, I'm about to drive to Byron for 3 days and get on the piss with the boys as a celebration for the weekend, for the year. You know, I'm 36 now, so there won't be too much drinking, but it'll probably be like ice baths and shit. But, you know, it's like I'm not, like this morning I was talking to a mate who was a multi-millionaire hanging out with people that I've always wanted to hang out with. It felt very normal. And then, you know, to come here and talk to someone who's done massive amounts in the coaching industry, you're an incredibly knowledgeable dude and I love talking to you. And then I can go to Byron. I'm the same person in every space. I don't come here and try to impress you. I come here and I be me. If that's not enough, I don't fucking care. And if anyone that's listening is judging me for the way I speak, that's okay. They're actually allowed to. So I think a lot of people will, just get so caught up in this space, bro, when they're leveling up and all the things and think they have to wear certain things and act a certain way and be around certain people to be perceived that they're successful. When at the end of the day, I couldn't give a fuck. As long as I look in the mirror and be like, you're a good dude, bro. That's all I sort of judge it by.
Yeah, I love that. It's an interesting thing that kind of plays out as well, because there's a lot of talk in it's almost like a bias that people have, is that they can only get the depth of level of support from people they pay. And this is one of the things that I see play out all the time. It's like there are certain seasons where you're going to get a deeper level of support in a different area, and often people want it in a business context because it's less vulnerable rather than with their partner. Because if they have to go to a new level of depth with their partner, it's like, well, there's a lot more on the line there. There's a lot more vulnerability. If a business coach rejects me, then that doesn't feel as bad as if my partner rejects me. And that's one of the things that we see play out is like, you know, how do you turn your entire life into your spiritual journey rather than it just being, you know, your spiritual practice rather than it just being your business? It's like, how do you do that in every area? And what is the season of initiation for you? For me, my season of initiation is much more family and relationship right now. It's like, does that mean that business is not growing? No, business is still growing. And at the same time, that's pretty easy for me. It's pretty easy for me to go out and just go, okay, cool. You know, this is $150,000. You want to do it or not? There's not a lot of vulnerability in that for me. But for me to go to my partner and go, hey, you know how we're parenting right now, can we have a conversation around that? That's a lot harder than just going, hey, you want to pay me money for something?
Oh.
And most people, I see this all the time. Most people are like, I can only get that from a coach. And there's certain seasons of that. There's certain seasons where that's the initiation when you've only ever invested, you know, $20,000 in a coach and you haven't invested $50,000 in a coach, then there's a season of initiation where that's going to bring up certain things. Every single time that you invest in your amount or in a new way, the amount of times where people come to me and they've only ever invested on payment plans and I'm like, thank you for letting me know. Now you can only pay me up front because I know what it's going to create for them. I know the initiation of that because what they're really doing is they're putting everything in the future. They're putting all of these things outside of themselves. They're creating this level of safety of having money in their bank account rather than actually saving fucking money. If you pay up front for something, the minimum that you will save is typically 16.666%, which is normally 2 months of a 12-month program. That's the minimum. I work with this coach once and he's like, okay, cool, you know, $30,000 paid in full or $45,000 on a payment plan. I'm like, I don't want to pay $45,000, an extra $15,000 just to not have the money come out of my account right now. That sounds fucking stupid. But most people don't see how stupid it is to be able to give up. That's 50%. That's 50% more. That's the tax. That's the stupid tax on that. Yep. But most people are like, oh no, payment plan. So it's like people don't see every single thing can be an initiation. They don't see that it doesn't just come from coaching. It comes from life. And when you turn your life into that spiritual journey of actually initiating yourself and becoming the person that you're always here to actually become, then it becomes so much more powerful. Yes, there is many seasons of that in business and many people hide in fucking their personal development more than fucking anything else, me included.
Yeah, same. I'll put my hand up and say, yeah, I love that because it's like, yeah, bro, like I'm sure you see it all the time because you run events. You probably see the same people coming. It's like, hey, can you go just do the thing for 6 months and then come back? So it's like at the same time, I know exactly what you said. Even a moment last night with my partner, I was trying to share something that happened that day. And she's a bit autistic as well. And she had a big day. We're talking like 8 p.m. She's a teacher. So I heard her like whistle. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, you're not listening. But I didn't get angry. I just said, oh, okay. She probably needs a moment to herself. She doesn't want to hear, you know, trauma right now. So I caught myself, but we just had a quick little conversation to say, hey, it's all good. I'm not mad at you. I understand that you need this space right now. You've had a huge week. It's end of year. All your kids are finishing. And it was done. Rather than me sitting in the car for the next 20 minutes driving home or back to the Airbnb and stewing about it and be like, oh, my partner wasn't listening to me. It was dealt in that moment just then. But then that brought up a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation. But, I mean, we've done that from day dot. I remember when I first moved in, I created my cave in the garage where I go and game. And she walked in with our little sausage dog, sat down right next to me, and every part of me was like, what the fuck are you doing in here? Because I wanted my alone time. Yeah. But I had never really been with a partner that I could just be so open with. And I just said, babe, just letting you know, I feel kind of uncomfortable right now that you're in my space. She was like, oh, no, all good, babe. Do you want me to just give you a couple of hours? I'm like, yeah, is that cool? Sorted. Cool. No unconscious resentment, no build up. It was just done there and then. But those conversations over the first like 12 months or so were really uncomfortable for me because I wasn't used to it. It was facing it head on and not running away and doing the whole like avoidant attachment and stewing on it and then having a big fight and then coming back to make up and all the other bullshit that most people go through. So yeah, bro, I agree. It's like even just going through that car thing and dealing with this, they own 14 dealerships. I had to go up against a monster, but I had so much evidence to be like, no, you guys need to learn a lesson. You don't know when another me is going to walk in now. So that felt really nice to stand up for myself. And that was an initiation that I'm sure is going to give me more skills for what I'm moving forward in.
Yeah, it's very interesting how it plays out. I was thinking about this when I was driving up here. We're staying in a Airbnb at the moment while our kitchen gets renovated. And I was thinking about, most people are completely oblivious to all of the dynamics that play out in whatever business that you're in. Most people are completely oblivious what happens with your clients when you only have one-on-one clients and you only do high-level clients. Most people are oblivious of what it takes to create a mastermind. Most people have no idea that people get triggered on other people in the mastermind pretty much every single session.
Yeah.
Most people are oblivious to that. They're just doing their thing, seeing it. It's like, oh, that's going to grow my business in this way. It's like people are oblivious to that. Most people don't see the dynamic of like often people, you can be working with a mentor, but then you can also be in the container with a mentor in another thing over here, and what that actually creates for people and their level of authenticity and their level of actually being able to hold themselves while also recognizing that they're in a position of power with someone else that's in the container. Most people are completely oblivious to those things playing out. They're oblivious to what's actually going on for people when they're holding something, when they're holding someone in a conversation that's with an 8-figure business owner, and the different dynamics of the level of articulation and preciseness required for them to be able to get the nuance of it that allows them to feel seen and heard so that they can actually open up. Because often it's just like, oh yeah, people think it's this, it's the same thing, different devil. It's like, well, yeah, it is the same thing, same thing, same devils, and the level of nuance is what creates safety.
Yeah, I love that.
And if there's not that level of nuance of like all of these tiny little things, people are just like, well, you just don't get it. And that's why I have a little chuckle when it's like we both you and your partner have, the TISM tendencies. It's like, oh, well, yeah, that makes it kind of a little bit understandable for each other as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of like you can experience, the experience so well that you're like, I see what's going on right now. I understand. Yeah. So yeah, dude, I love that because you're right. It's like it's going to be a never-ending learning piece around the people, their situations, and as you said, some people will be like, oh, I can talk to this person the same way I can talk to this person, but the context is so different. Yep. So being able to meet them there is so important. So yeah, man, I can't even imagine what I'm going to experience in that regard over the next few years with the people I'm going to meet. I don't know who the fuck I'm going to meet and what their experiences have been. I know that if you talk about going and playing or working with, say, an NBA player, if it's an African-American player that's been through horrible cultural trauma and things like that, he's going to be a totally different experience to who I've ever dealt with because I haven't worked with that type of personal player before. So it's like knowing that, the nuance is going to have to be tightened up in every single person and myself as well. I can't even imagine the shit I'm going to go through to be challenged and leveled up to get to where I can hold that too. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Yeah.
There's this interesting thing that plays out with people who work one-on-one with people is the first thing is like the distinction between, coaching and mentorship. Coaching is this dynamic where you're kind of coaching them. Mentorship is an intimate relationship with people where you're actually like sharing more of yourself. The coach is like kind of teaching and coaching things, but the mentor brings an entirely different energetic frequency to it, which means that when I take on a mentoring client, it's less about the money and more about me growing more. Because I recognize that the person's going to bring more out of me. I only take on a mentoring client if they're going to bring more out of me. When Nat's like begging me to take her on as a one-on-one client for like a year, I'm like, no. And then eventually I'm like, all right, now I'm open. This is going to be how it's going to work. This is what we're going to do. Because I recognize that she's going to bring more out of me. She's going to pull more out of me. She's going to force me to become better in every single area. She's going to bring up all of my shit. She's going to be journeying things that I'm not journeying at that time that I'm going to have to go back to in my past of when I journeyed that. And there's going to be things that we're going to be journeying at the exact same time, just in a different way, just with a different number, just with a different thing, with a different dynamic of a client or the relationship, if she's the primary person who's making money in the relationship, how that's going to impact the business and how the other person who's not making the same amount of money is going to then create an energetic shift in terms of how that plays out. And it's going to be pulling the energy this way when she's trying to go this way and all the different dynamics that most people don't recognize with that. That's why I love mentorship, high-level mentorship, but I hate it because there's no hiding. It's like it is the greatest initiation. That's why I also do it in the seasons because I'm like, there's going to be a time where I just want to have a breather first. That's why I'm also like we literally just finished all of our events for the year yesterday. That's why I'm like, I'm excited for the next month of just breathing. I'm still serving all of our clients, but I can do that in my sleep anyway, because I'm not I've had a break of working with high level mentorship, but then, at the start of the year, I already know the two people that I'm going to be inviting into that. And it's like, okay, cool. This is your time to breathe. And then it's like, now we're back into all the reflections around all of the shit that you said that you're fucking good at, but then it's going to be put to a new test. You're going to be forced to eat your own medicine of all the things that you fucking tell all these people even more, because that mentorship clients have the capacity to 10x their results, but that also means that it's going to bring up 10 times my shit. That's why I love it, but hate it.
Fuck, dude, that is the best explanation I've heard of what I do, for sure. Because it's a constant, like you're talking to my partner at night, I'm like, this brought stuff up for me today through such and such. And I can only imagine what it's going to bring up over the next few years, absolutely, because even just the opportunity coming, here you go, Trav, here's the next level of your shit. Hope you're ready to deal with that. So, but I'm so ready for it. I see myself as like a giant Yoda that just helps the hero. I'm more of a guide than anything. Yeah. And I like that because I remember hearing someone say, the hero's the guy that gets strong at the end of the movie. Yeah. The guide's already strong. Yeah. He's the one standing next to them, helping them, supporting them, giving them bits of advice, little metaphors, little things that help them. But as you said, they're also having to grow themselves as well and be challenged and hold them through these moments of their life where it's horrible and you're holding there with them and you're next to them. As much as you're not in it, you're in it. Like I was going through my shit 2 weeks ago. I've got 14 one-on-one clients, and you would know this well from me coming to your event a while ago, that every single one of them were going through similar sort of battles of boundary setting, legal battles, and I'm holding all that while I'm still holding myself. So yeah, you're right. I think about it now and I'm like, maybe I've been in a perpetual cycle of like fight or flight without even knowing it for the last like 4 years.
Yep.
For the level of mentorship that I actually do.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's common. It just plays out. Most people, that's why my recommendation with mentorship is seasons. 14, I wouldn't, based on all of the other containers that we have, 14 mentorship clients for me, I wouldn't be doing that right in this season with 2 kids.
Oh, dude, I can't even imagine. No way. Holy, I got no kids and it's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's recognizing the season that you're in. Like the first thing that I look at is when someone comes to me for business is like, okay, cool. What season are you in? Are you in a growth season? Are you in a one-on-one season? Are you in a group program season? They're different seasons. How many kids do you have? How much time can you put into your business? How much time do you want to put into your business? Like some people are like, I want to game most of the day. It's like, cool, well, let's work with those constraints. We're not going to stop that because otherwise you're going to end up resenting your work. How do we create a business which is so soul aligned to you based on the season that it's in, that it's completely different to other people, but it's soul aligned for you for the season that you're in. But people forget the season that they're in. They're like, no, I want to go into the season of growth. It's like, well, it depends.
Yeah.
Depends what you've just been journeying. Have you built up a level of success one-on-one that you can then turn that into a group, and then you've turned that into something evergreen, and then you've let that thing die? That's what most people don't go through. They don't go through the death. They don't go through the dying of the things. They don't see that. Then that feeds back. If I had my slides here, then you'll see it in a model. There's the growing season, which is one-on-one because you're refining your skills, and then you turn that into the capacity to be able to then do that in a group. I remember that probably the most famous one-on-one coach is Rich Litvin.
Have you heard of him?
Rich Litvin would work with presidents of countries.
Oh, okay.
And he's like written an entire book on, he would create experiences where it's like, okay, cool. It's $100,000 is the minimum to be able to work with me. And I only work through invitation and referral only.
Nice.
And he would create like multi-million-dollar coaching packages to be able to work with people. But he would only ever do it for certain seasons. Like it's like, okay, cool. The season starts, he just treats it like an athlete. The season starts January and runs to September, but then October, November, December, nothing. And he might have some people that he might be on call for, but it's like all of his money is made in that time frame. I remember this other guy, what was his, Michael Milkowicz or something, I can't remember his name, but he was his business owner. and it changed my reality of business. He just said, yeah, I work 6 months of the year. We got a $100 million company, but I only work 6 months of the year. And I'm like, what do you mean you only work 6 months of the year?
What are you talking about?
What do you mean? Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I get to shift my relationship with work to be able to shift it, because he's like, it was the same for Rich Litvin. He recognized, hey, I'm putting all my energy into the thing that if I have no break from all of it, doesn't work for them either. And eventually what that then happened was he then approached, because he was making millions of dollars from all of this coaching. And then he's like, well, I've been doing this for long enough. I could probably start teaching coaches a lot of this shit. So then he'd created a group program for that. But then he also created a group coaching program. He went and worked with Daniel Priestley at KPI and was like, okay,
Daniel's great.
He's like, listen, hey, I've done all the things. I've made all this money. I've written all the books. I've done all the things that if you teach people to do. Now I want to create this thing. Can I work with you to do it? He's like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And then he creates this other program and it goes into a group. And then all of those things, it goes through the cycle of creation of like one-on-one into a live group, into a recorded thing, then into death, then back into one-on-one. People often have a predominance of one, but if they do none of the others, it creates limitation too, because what happens? People get burnt out then.
Yeah, so true. And it's like, as you said, the cycles of the season and knowing that you can try so many different things just to see what works for you. I think that's been the great thing. Jess definitely challenged me on that to say, hey, do this, see what you feel feels good for you. But none of the, like, oh, I don't like doing this because I don't want to do it. It's like, no, test it out, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And even my business coach, Tay, that I had, I said this to Drew last night. I was like, some people are like looking at the object so close, they can't even see what it is.
Yeah.
So then having someone from the outside to say, hey, Trav, that's a can.
Yeah.
It's not a white space. And I realized that I was taking clients' weekly calls and she just goes, why don't you do fortnightly calls? I was like, what? You can do that? Fuck. I could do all my calls one week and then just a whole week of nothing. Cool. And that just changed the dynamic of what's actually possible, because I shared this in my stories the other day. Most people are living the world as if it's linear, and it's like you don't realize it's a GTA map. You can walk around and do whatever you want technically, but I watched it this morning at the cafe while I was waiting for Aiden to show up. You could tell these older blokes, it's the same walk all the way, grab their coffee, go out, grab their paper and walk out, when it's like, I wonder if he's ever thought that he could just like do a little twirl if he wanted to right now. But he wouldn't, because he's terrified of what everyone would think. So it's like, I remember Chris Griffin saying, most people aren't scared of judgment. They're not scared of failure. They're scared of the judgment that comes when you do fail. So even if you fell and no one saw you, you wouldn't care. You just get back up. But if someone peeked their head around the corner, I was like, aha, loser. Then you make it mean so much about yourself. So for me to be seen by my coaches failing, I got so much great feedback as well, because I wasn't afraid of it. I was like, cool, tell me why did I fuck up just then? And what can I do next? And offer me solutions. And I would just move so fast because I was so willing to just fail in a way, which was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think that's the perfect thing to wrap up on for today. What's the best way for people to find you?
Definitely straight on Instagram, The Technician. Podcast will be coming back a lot bigger next year. I've got a few things to rejig, but I'd love to get you on there, brother. I know we've talked about that as well. So we can come back in the same room and do the same thing with a few different colors. But it's for me, the season I'm going into, everything's actually changing from today. So I've actually said to everyone, hey, all my offers are pretty much stopping from today. If you want to jump in, now's the time. And I'm just backing myself 110% with what's come. So I'm really excited to officially share with everyone once it's all the contracts are signed and stuff like that. But I want people to believe that literally anything's possible. I don't think people realize that as I was growing up, I was a really awkward, shy little Asian kid. My background's Filipino and Scottish. And you look at dad, he's like, he looks like Fatty Vorden, and mum's like the Filipino side. So I've got these two very different cultures within me. And the very shy little Filipino kid growing up, for me to be the man I am today that, speaks on stage, runs a top podcast in Oz, coaches people through these breakthroughs and things, there's no way in hell the 17-year-old that quit football thought this would be possible. But here I am sitting across from an incredible man and coach himself. And it's not that long ago that I was doing that other shit. What's it, 18 years ago? And something I didn't share during this was when this thing happened, Cody, 2 weeks ago, I got on ChatGPT as I was having a bit of a spiral in the sauna. I was like, chat, help me. And basically it said, and it resonated so hard. It was like, what you've just experienced today is like a full hero's journey circle moment where 18-year cycle has just finished. It was 9 years of destruction, 9 years of building. And this moment that's about to happen, this happened before I got the call to say what's just happened. And I had this moment of like everything, I was losing my mind, this old wound of like acting weird around celebrities or perceived people and things like that. And I was banging the bed like, fuck, why am I so weird? And it was this old wound, and I got that out of my body. And as I'm laying there, just like after Hulk smashing our bed, I'm just crying and weeping. And then I get the call saying, brother, we did it. And that moment, I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And I want other people to experience that. But for anyone listening, for you to experience that moment that I did, you have to start. And just be okay that you're going to fuck up. Be okay it's going to be hard. Be okay that you're going to go through things that make you want to quit. But at the end of the day, for me to be sitting here across from you to say this to you, I have so much pride knowing that for the rest of my life, even if I end up dying young and I'm laying in that deathbed in the hospital, I never have to say those words. I regret not trying because I've done everything I fucking can up to this point.
Epic. Love it. Thank you so much. That's the perfect thing to finish on.
Appreciate it, guys.